Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Please let me know if it is visible. Hope my screen is visible. So in yesterday's session, we have already seen about the group by class and aggregate functions, right? Hope you guys remember all those things. So while by comparing the group by class with the pivot table, right? Hope you guys remember. We have seen the comparison between the pivot table in Excel with the group by, and how we did all these group by things with respect to the Postgres, right? So we have seen some simple things, right? In the group by, we have seen some simple things like by comparing the count star and the count of a column and aggregate functions, usage of aggregate functions with and without group by, and the difference between the what is the difference between the, when I give the column name with the count of a column name and a column name with the count star, right, with respect to the null values. And we have also this is pending, I think, how to use more than one aggregate function in a single query, right? More than one aggregate function in a single query. So now we will see that, and in today's session, what we are going to say is with the group by and aggregate functions, I'm going to use the var class with some condition. Okay, with the group by aggregate function, we are going to use the var class with some conditions. Okay, for the we will use the same data set itself for the invoice data set, invoice detail master and item master. We will try to execute some queries with respect to this. Okay, so the first thing is what we are going to see is usage of more than one aggregate function in a single query. So we will first frame a question with respect to that. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the total quantity and the value. Okay, we will take the invoice details. So I need the total quantity and the total value, sum of values for the each items. Okay, for the each items across all the invoice. Excuse. For each items across all the invoice. Okay, so I'm using it without any joins, just I'm going to use this item ID alone. Okay, and for the exercise part we will see the other things. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is to get the total quantity and total values of each items across all across all invoice. So all invoice in the sense invoice details in my invoice details table. Okay, this is the first question we are going to do. So you can see here, I need the total quantity and the total values. Two things I want. Okay, now what I'm going to do is select item ID, right? Item ID. So here is my item ID, and I'm going to do the total for this quantity and value with respect to each item ID. So this is the target. Okay, this is the one which we are going to do. Sum by using the aggregate function sum and calculating the total QTY as, so this is the alias name, total quantity. Okay, and then the next thing is sum of, what is the next one? Value, right? And I'm giving some alias name as total value from what is the table name? INV details, right? And I'm going to do the group by. So with respect to which one I need to do the grouping with respect to the item ID. Okay, item ID, I'm doing the group by. Okay, if you want to do the order by, then you can do it. Order by which column? So I will take this value wise. Okay, this value wise, I need to do the ordering. So whether it is a descending order or ascending order, you have to mention, right? Okay, now I will open the Postgres. I'm connecting with our data set, num db, sorry, num. So I'm connected with our data set. I'll try to increase the font size and I'm pasting the query, right? So you can see here with respect to the item ID, my total value and the total quantity got displayed. Okay. So now I can able to generate the report with respect to the item ID for each item. You can see here. Otherwise, I will order with respect to the item ID so that only we can able to view it in a proper way. See here there are 26 items are there, and for each item, what is the total quantity got sold and what is the total value so far got sold. Okay. So this is the first query. Here, what I did was here we have used more than one aggregate function, right? You can use any number of aggregate function with respect to the measuring field. Okay. And we will frame the next question. Okay. So what it can be now I want to get the total value of all invoice. Okay. With I'm going to do it with some condition. So with some condition, we will try to do it with the group by. So what I can get is I am going to get the total value of all invoice within some specific date range. We will take this invoice master table also. Okay. So within some specific date range, okay, what I need is the total value of all invoice within some specific range. So what I want to do is I need to combine these two tables. I need to join these two tables. So since we didn't touch upon the topic with respect to the joins, we will go for the where condition itself. For the single join, we will go for where condition itself. So using where condition, I can able to do the single join inner join with respect to the where condition. So what is the common field with these two table? Invoice ID is the common field, right? This is the primary key and this one is the foreign key. Hope you guys understood this. Now I'm going to frame a question to get the total value of all invoice within some specific date range. Okay, within some specific date range from invoice master, right? So what I'm going to do is, first we will select, um, so there are two tables, right? So there are two tables we are going to use. So I'm going to write the table name invoice, invoice details as IN or ID. Okay. So ID is nothing but the alias name for this invoice details. Okay. This is from invoice details as an ID, and one more table I need is, in order to fetch the date, I need INV master, right? So I will keep this INV master as IM. Okay, this IM is nothing but alias name for this invoice master table. So now what are all the fields I need from the invoice details? Okay, from the invoice details, I need invoice ID. Okay, so here you can see here I have used this alias name to mention the field inside this particular table. Okay, so ID is the alias name for invoice details, and I'm using this alias name and dot operator to mention the to mention the invoice ID which is present inside this invoice detail table, right? And what else I need, comma, sum of all the values, right? Sum of all the values, and these values I need to get from invoice details only, right? ID dot values. And I'm giving alias name for this sum. For this column, sum of values, I'm giving alias name. Total value. And what else I need? Okay, for now, I just want to display the item ID with the values is enough for me, I think. Okay, so here what I'm going to, after from, what I'm going to do is I am going to give one condition, where what is the condition from my invoice master, right? See, you can see here, here is the invoice master. I'm going to select two particular dates. Okay, so I will select this date, invoice master. What is the column name? INV date, right? Invoice master. IM is the nothing but the alias name for invoice master, and using that alias name, I'm fetching the INV date. INV underscore date, or yes, INV underscore date. So my date should be, what is the range of my date? It should be greater than or equal to this particular date. Okay. So within this range should be greater than or equal to with this one. And what else? Within, okay, I will choose the next 20th like that. Okay. So what else I need is, I'll just copy paste it, and it should be less than. So if it is greater than 1/11/2020 and less than, I will choose 20/11/2020 within the same month. Okay, for 20 days I am choosing it. Okay, so if it is less than 2020 and greater than 1/11/2020 and less than 20/11/2020, it means the in between dates. It will take the in between. So far we have used the between, right? The between is used to choose some range in between the values we have given. Similarly, we can use this is also same like a between. Okay, this is greater than, this greater than will fetch all the dates greater than this particular date, and this less than will fetch the all the less than dates within this range. So in between these two dates, we will get the 20 dates. Okay, all the 20 range. Okay, so what is the next condition I'm going to give is, so I need to give the condition to match this foreign key and primary key, right? So in invoice master, invoice ID, all the invoice ID should be matched with my invoice ID present in the invoice details, right? So in order to give that condition, what I'm going to do, IM dot invoice ID, right? Invoice ID should match with ID dot. What is ID? Invoice detail. Invoice details dot inv ID. Okay. So all the condition got over, right? All the condition got over, and I have given the sum of values here. So for what it should do the sum of values with respect to the invoice date, right? With respect to this invoice date, for all the invoice individual invoice date, it will it I want the sum of the sale values. Okay, say how much sale happens in total for each invoice ID. So in order to do that, have mentioned it as an each invoice ID, right? So in order to do that for each invoice ID, we need to group the invoice IDs. Okay. So finally, I'm giving group by. So first see the hierarchy. Okay. First, what you want to give is select, then from, then condition. Okay. And then only what we are going to do, then only the finally group by. And after this, if you want to do ordering, then you can order. Okay. So this is the levels of the query. Okay. Levels of the query which you need to mention, which you need to do it while doing the group by. Okay. So always group by will comes after the condition, and before that you need to mention the from, and first thing is select. So this is the hierarchy. Okay. So group by, what I want to group by, uh, id dot, id is the alias name, invoice details, id dot invoice id. Right. If I want to do the ordering, then I can able to do it after this. Order by, order by on what? Invoice ID itself. Okay, we will keep this invoice ID. Okay, let it be in the ascending order itself. Okay, so now I'm going to execute this query. Hope there is no syntax error. What is the syntax error? ID value does not exist. Why? Okay, since I'm giving it as a two table, it is not accepting, I think. Okay. ID dot values. Okay. Delete this. Values or value? Let me check it. ID dot. Okay, it's value, not values. So that is the mistake, I think. We'll try to execute this. Okay. Now it has calculated for each invoice. Okay, for each invoice, what is the total value? So for this one invoice ID, this is the total value. Two invoice ID, this is the total value. Okay, you can see here for one, the and also for the similar kind of one which may occur somewhere else, right? So there might be many ones, since it is a foreign key, and we have did it for each and every transaction. And for each invoice master ID for this particular 25 ID, there may be many transaction done in this invoice detail table, right? It can be possible, right? So in order to cumulate, in order to see that cumulative value for each and every ID, we have used this. Okay, we have used this group by and sum of values. So it is coming for within the range of this date. So 1 11 2020 to 20 days, right? We have took it for 20 days. Up to this, up to this, it will coming. It is coming. So this is the output. So now what we are going to do is we can see here, instead of, if you are confused with this, you can use the between also. So how we use the between, where invoice im dot invoice date, you can use between this date and this date, right? So we don't want this. So you can use it like this also. Okay. So in either way, you can use it. So using between also, you can able to do it. Okay. So this is the next thing which we completed with the condition, with respect to the date condition, right? Date condition and one simple join by using the where condition. Okay. So hope you guys understood this up to this point. Now we will try to frame some more questions with related to some specific group. So specific grouping. Okay. What we will take is we will take this oil alone. So what I want is to get the total quantity and value of total value. We will see the total value or average value, anything. Okay. Total value of items in a specific item group. Okay. So what is the specific item group? We will take the oil as a specific item group. Okay, for now. So in order to calculate the total quantity, okay, total quantity which it got sale and total value, the same thing, right? Total quantity and the total value, the same thing we are going to apply, but it should be for some specific group. Okay, what is that specific group? This oil. So I want to display that particular specific group also in the select query. While generating the report, I need this item group name also. Okay, in order to do that, what we need to do, how to get this item, this specific item group by joining with this details. Okay, we are having the common column like item ID. This is the common column called as item ID. So using this item ID, we are going to, as usual, we are going to join these two tables, and we will, by giving this condition, instead of this condition, what we are going to give, we are going to give the oil as a condition. Okay. So I'm just taking the same query. Instead of invoice master, I'm using what is the table name? Item master, right? Right. So for the item master also, the alias name is I am keeping it as an IM. The extra thing what I need is IM dot item group also. I want to mention. Okay, I want to see this item group name also. What is inside the item group? Item group, it is having the name of all the items. So I want to generate a report with that name. So this is the requirement. Okay. So in order to get the sum of values and what else I missed? Okay, this is total quantity, right? So I will take this total quantity also. So from which one I need to get the total quantity? It should come from the invoice details. Okay. And here, what is the condition I need to give? Okay, with this condition, we will proceed. With this condition itself, we will try to proceed. I will decrease the date further. So for 1 day, sorry, for 12 days alone with this condition. And also I'm going to add one more condition. What is that condition? My invoice value, right? Sorry, item group. So IM dot item group should be equal to for only one item for oil alone. I need to see. Okay. So this is the condition which we are matching, but this invoice ID is not inside the item master. So what I need in order to join this item master with the invoice details, I need to join the item ID. This is the common column. Item ID. Right? Here also item ID. Okay. So I need to group it by, you can see here what I need to group it using the item group. Okay. For if we are mentioning this particular thing as an item group, then we don't need any item, any group wise. Okay. So for this, what I'm going to do is, with respect to this item group, I don't want to group anything because I have mentioned only one item. So what I can do is I can able to group it with respect to the invoice ID. Okay. So how it will, what is the meaning of this means, for each item group, in for each item group, the oil, okay, it will group this invoice ID. Okay, this invoice ID will get grouped for the with respect to the item ID. What is the item ID for this in oil? It is 6, 7, 8, and 9, I think. Okay, it will take, so it will take 6, 7, 8, and 9 alone. You can see here. You can see here. It will take the 6, 7, 8, and 9 alone. You can see. So it will take all these IDs and it will group it. 6, 7, 8, 9 IDs for all these IDs. Okay. You can see here this much of values we are having for 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay. So it will take all these IDs and it will do the grouping. So let me proceed with this. Okay. If I want to do this, okay. If I want to include this date also, I need to include the another table, right? See here, invoice master also I need to include. So I need to mention another condition like this, right? So here I'm joining all the three tables with the another condition. What happened? Which column does not exist? So it is not taking the both and condition. Okay, I need to give one more item. Oh, sorry, invoice master, right? Invoice master as INM. I will keep it as an INM. Okay. So INM invoice ID should match with invoice ID in the invoice table. And IM is nothing but my invoice master item ID should match with the invoice details item ID. And here in the INM, the date should be matched. And for this particular date, between date, I am fetching the values. So here we have combined all these three. What happened? Appear in the group I. Okay, it should be appear in the group I. See here, this item group, invoice ID, all these things I have mentioned here in the select statement. So the same thing should come in the grouping also. We have already seen one rules, right? In yesterday's session itself, we have seen the rules. What are all the things I have mentioned in the select statement should come in the group by also. So that is the rule. Okay. See, now you can see the for all item group oil, the invoice ID 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for all the invoice ID, it have calculated the total quantity of sale and the total value. And with respect to the invoice ID, it got ordered. So here what I did was I did it. I did the grouping with respect to the item group and invoice ID. Okay, if I don't want to see here, the item group is I have mentioned is oil alone. right? So if you don't want to group it because it is only one value, so I don't want this column. There is nothing to do the grouping for the one column, right? So I can able to, now I can able to see without the oil. Okay. So here we have separate given some condition with respect to the oil, and it will filter the oil, okay, and it will filter the item group as an oil. But in the grouping, I didn't mention because it has only one value. There is nothing to do the grouping, right, with respect to the grouping. Without this particular for the oil alone, the particular invoice ID, total value, and total quantity we have fetched for the between dates with respect to the between dates. So what are all the condition I have given? The between dates, oil, and in order to merge these three tables, okay, in order to merge, see my date column is in the invoice master, and my item group column is in the item group master, okay, item master. So in our my sold values and everything and all, it's in invoice detail table. So in order to merge all these table, what I need to do, I have to um, do some conditions like where here I have given the where condition with respect to the invoice ID, and my invoice ID in the invoice master should match with invoice details invoice ID. Similarly, the invoice sorry item ID in the item master should match with the item ID in the invoice details. Right? These are the two conditions which I have given. With respect to this two condition and with respect to the date also, we have generated some report with respect to the total quantity and value to get this total quantity and value for oil item alone. Okay, so this is the next query, and we have seen how to do the joins for and conditions, more than one condition, right? More than one where condition with respect to date, with respect to the what is this in order to select some specific item, and also to join the two columns, okay, with by using the where condition. Okay, we will try to frame some more questions with respect to the date. Okay, is in yesterday's session itself I told you how to frame the how to bring in the date truncate and date extract and all those functions with respect to the group by, right? So we will see some of them with respect to that. Okay, so now what I want is what I want to calculate the total number of transaction done in the particular, you can see particular day of the month or a day. Okay, so in order to fetch this day alone, we can use either truncate or either date extract, right? So what is my next question? What is the total number of transaction done for um, done for particular day or month, anything. Okay, so in order to do this, what we are going to do is we will do the date truncate we will use. Okay, select date of. So we have already used this date truncate, right? We have already used this date truncate. See here, we have already used this. What this date truncate will do? This date truncate, okay, this date truncate will group all the things which are in the, you can see here. See, I have given one timestamp, right? So with respect to this timestamp, it will round off all the values until the day. Okay, this is the day. If it is for the month, it will round off all the values until the month. like 000000, and here for the day it will take it as an 01. If it got round off for the year, then it will start from, I think, I'm not sure, it might be 1980s, like that it will take, I think. I'm not sure. So this will round off until the end. What are all the things we have given here? Until the hour, it will round off. Okay, until the day, it will round off. So this is what we have seen in the date truncate. So we will take the syntax. And what is today? Okay, here we were. You can see here, this is the syntax, right? Now we don't want any timestamp, right? So here I have given only date alone. So what we will do is we will take the date. Okay, date comma. So here I think it is the day, and here we will take it as a date, right? So for the date, what I'm going to take is, I will take one day, this alone, okay, this date alone. So until the day, it will truncate. Okay, it will truncate until the day. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to calculate the okay, I will give some alias name for this. Okay, as date. Okay, after giving alias name, what I want is, I want to do the number of transactions, right? In order to get the number of transaction, what I need count star. Okay, count star as inv count as an alias name from inv master. And I need to group it, right? Group by, so according to this day, I am grouping it. Okay, according to this day or month, anything you wish, I am grouping it. So let us see whether we have any syntax error or not. What is the syntax error? From inv master. Okay, I have given the table name, spelling is wrong. You can see here, for this particular day, I'm having the count as 1244. So this many of the transaction has done on this particular date. Okay, so hope you guys getting my point. Excuse. So we can do it for the month also. We can do it for the month also. So I'm just truncating it for the month. We can do it like this also. So up to this month, actually we are having the data only for 1 month. So you couldn't find any that much of difference, I think. Let us see. Month. Okay. So here I have changed it as a month, month and month. Okay. Yeah, we don't see any changes in the data. So you can see here, this truncate, what it does was, the truncate is has round off for all the values until the month. Okay, my date becomes 01, but I have mentioned it as 12, right? This is what truncate will do. So up to that particular month and year, it will do the truncate. It will round off the values and save it as a month, right? We have kept it as a month. And for that particular month alone, it counted. Okay, count star, what it will do, it will count the everything. And this group by will group this month. Okay, so this, for this particular month alone, how much count we are getting. So this is the one we have did. So okay, we will proceed with the we have already seen the date part, and we will proceed with the okay, we will try to combine the same thing. Okay, we will try to combine the same thing with this invoice ID. Okay, so for that what we need is we need the total number of transaction done on particular day of a month or a day with respect to the invoice IDs. Okay, with respect to this invoice ID. So we will take the same query. Okay, so with the same query, what I need is, so with this invoice master as an, I'll keep this invoice master as an IM, and I need invoice details also as ID. Okay, so what I want is I want id dot inv, right, invoice ID. So I want one invoice ID and I'm going to truncate the same thing up to the month. Okay, up to the month, I'm going to truncate the same. If you are having it as a timestamp, okay, if it is a timestamp, then you can mention here as a timestamp. And you should give like this 00, because it should be in our data set. But in our data set, we don't have timestamp, right? So we are using the date alone. Okay. So for this, what we are going to do is we will do the count star for the same thing, invoice count. Okay, so now after joining, in order to get the invoice details, okay, in order to group the invoice details also, what I want is comma id dot inv id. So I'm grouping it as per first it will group by the month, and for that each month it will group the invoice ID with respect to that. This also we have already seen. The order which I am giving in the group by, only it will group it. Okay, first it will do grouping with respect to the month, and then it will group the with respect to the IDs. Okay. So now with the where condition, I'm going to join this. What I'm going to join? IM dot invoice ID, INV ID should be equal to ID dot INV ID. So this is the condition which I have given. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, hope all the things INV ID, date truncate as a month, and count star, and for the invoice master and invoice details table, and I have joined these two tables and I did the group by also, right? So I'll try to execute this. You can see for this month, okay, for this 11th month alone, how much invoice ID, okay, for this invoice ID for the 11th month, how much count of transaction has been done. For this particular invoice ID and this month, for this month alone, how much transaction has been done. Okay, we have grouped with respect to the invoice ID, right? So yes, that's all for today. It's already time's up, I think. Okay, we will stop the recording and we will go for the poll session. Okay, we will stop the recording and go for the poll session.
Shall I stop the recording from?
Yes, you can stop the recording.
Okay.